Hello, welcome back. Today I have a different type of video. It's a little bit of a different format than usual. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things that, concern this painting. First of all, please trust the process. It took me a while to find my footing with this illustration. Usually I have a better time drawing than painting, or at least I enjoy the process of drawing more than painting. But this time it really took me a couple tries to really, find how to properly approach this. As you could tell, the video started with a couple elements, already being on the screen. Like, I already sketched a little bit, and that's because I finally was finding, the light at the end of the tunnel. The first few trials were horrible, as you probably saw in the thumbnail with the whole egg thing. That's why the title or the name of the file is Bangchan. It's just he started looking like an egg. It took me a couple tries to finally find a sketch that was working, and even then it's gonna take a while until it looks okay, so please bear with me. Another thing that I want to mention is the fact that sometimes there's gonna be a little bit of glitchiness in the footage, and I think that's because my laptop can't really handle screen recording and Photoshop at the same time, I think, because it happens when I zoom in and out most of the time. I think my graphic card was not having a great time during this, so I don't know how often I'm gonna be screen recording on Photoshop in the future, but just letting you know. I tried to fix it on post, but it wasn't working. And now for more the technical part, I wanted to talk about the big differences that I do when I work on Photoshop versus Procreate, because most of my content is on Procreate and the tutorials that I've done are mostly on Procreate. The brushes that I use and that I talk about are mostly on Procreate. This time I want to also give you a little bit of a rundown of what the process is. It's very similar. I flip the canvas way more, and I think that's because I can also flip the reference picture way more. I only use 2 brushes. For the line art, I have 2 brushes that I never remember which one I use because I don't draw that often on Photoshop compared to Procreate, so I never remember which one. They're very similar. Both of them have a little bit of like a pencil texture, so any brush that looks like a normal pencil will work. And then for the actual painting process, I do the whole painting with the same brush. It's the round brush that I always use on Procreate too. The biggest difference is that in Procreate, a lot of times I use other texture brushes for the hair or sometimes for clothing and things like that. Here I do the whole thing with the same brush. It's the round brush that it's on my blog page, and I've mentioned many times. It's that one. I have it for both Procreate and Photoshop. The biggest difference on my rendering when it comes to Procreate and Photoshop is that on Photoshop I blend everything by hand. I manually blend it. Sorry, I just saw the little message of I want to give up. I made a couple of those throughout the video. I think only 2 or 3 made the final cut. One of them that I know that I cut was me really blasting my volume app so I could vibe with an NCT song that I really like. I blend manually when it comes to Photoshop. I don't use the smudge tool nor anything like that. Maybe for certain things I might use Gaussian blur to blend stuff, but for the most part, all the skin rendering, the hair, clothes, all of that, I blend manually, which means that I color pick all the shades that I am gonna use, and with the opacity a little bit down. I have the opacity tied to the pressure of the brush. So that's how I blend. If it's confusing and you want a tutorial, I'll be glad to make one. But that's, one of the difference that I have from Photoshop to Procreate. Also, in Procreate, I have a color palette. A lot of times I go around and I tweak the colors myself. I will go straight up and pick whatever color I want for the skin or the lips or everything, and the shadows. On Photoshop, I do everything just in the moment. I don't have any type of palette already sorted out. What I like to think is that with Procreate, it's like having a bunch of markers or set paints that you like the color, and you just use them straight up. It's the only difference, that I already have my favorite colors pre-selected. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my voiceover. I think I rambled enough. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you trust the process, please. It's funny because this ended up being one of my favorite drawings I think ever made, which is, it's crazy. It's nothing too complicated, it's nothing too fancy, but I think it's the color combination and the softness and everything that I really, really like. Sometimes your favorite can be the simplest thing ever. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me another week, and take care.